everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, ZingRx, and as you guys can see in the title above, this is a topic that has been presented to me by my friends, by family members, just in conversation and in passing with strangers. Is there really a nursing shortage? Are bedside nurses leaving? Are nurses just leaving the hospitals and clinics? Period. And why? So if you really want to know why and if there really is a nursing shortage, like, comment, and subscribe. You'll definitely be helping my channel out. But it's also for a community because I want to see what you guys are going to leave in the comments and tell me your experiences as well. So stay tuned. Why are nurses leaving the hospitals, the bedside, all of this stuff, right? So we're going to just say bedside nurses. We're going to say nurses who are in hospitals and nurses who are working at ambulatory care centers. These are all basically bedside care nurses, okay? Bedside nurses are the ones or practitioners who provide direct care to patients in these facilities, like I said, in hospitals, ambulatory care centers, even nursing homes. They are deemed bedside nurses, okay? I remember in nursing school, they always used to tell us, you know, there's a nursing shortage right now, and that's because of the baby boomer population. If you're a nurse or even a nursing student and you like to research things just like I do, I definitely was always online trying to figure out, okay, well, is nursing really, you know, a profession that I could look forward to and won't ever have to worry about anything as far as, you know, stability? And yes, the nursing shortage did come up because of the elderly baby boomer population that was, you know, going to foresee many more nurses that, you know, that we have right now. We are already talking about people who were leaving nursing before this pandemic hit. So we're going to talk about pre-COVID burnout, regular burnout, you know, with nursing. You know, you are in a specialty for so long, you just decide to leave and go to another specialty. There was not as much talk about leaving the nursing as a profession than there has been right now. And I honestly just have to say that, you know, apart from mental exhaustion, physical exhaustion, and just overall emotional exhaustion, nursing as a whole, although it will morally make you feel like a superhero, honestly, because even if you do like the smallest, littlest thing for a person, they are very grateful for it, right? But you're not doing it for them to be grateful. You're doing it to just help them recover. And the mental exhaustion, when I say that, is basically, as a nurse, you are always thinking about what's coming next. If you make a move or a medical error or anything of that nature, you're going to be thinking about the consequences of that action all the time, okay? And when I say emotional exhaustion, just like in one of my other videos, I had stated that when you're working with patients and their families, their emotions ultimately are going to pour into yours. That's where the compassion ability or just the compassion lies with a nurse when you're working in a field like this. Your compassion is sky high, you know, your empathy and sympathy is times 1,000, and it's just really easy for you to feel that person's pain or feel how they're suffering or just feel how they are emotionally while they're in there, especially right now with not a lot of family members being able to visit their loved ones. It's pretty rough. Exhaustion. We actually have patients who are not able to move on their own, or they need like a substantial amount of help or assistance to get them around, even to just roll on their side of the bed. So we use a lot of body mechanical techniques to help us reduce any type of injuries to ourselves, but that does not always guarantee 100% that nothing is going to be strained or pulled or broken, okay? So we also have that to worry about as well. Pushing and pulling patients, lifting patients, and turning patients. and even transporting patients. Also have good bedside manner. If you're religious, like me, I pray with my patients. I listen to their stories, and I listen how they got to the point where they are now. And it is really emotionally impacting for me, not only for me, but also for the patient. So we have a lot of different roles to play as a nurse, and that can definitely take a toll on us as well, because we have our own emotions, right? We have our own mental things that we have going on outside the workplace. And if you know anything about hospital shifts, you know that we work 12 hours. Some hospitals you could work 10 or you could work 8, but majority of the time, in a lot of the facilities that I know of, it's like 36 hours a week. Okay, that's full time for us. So 40 hours could be full time for you wherever you may be, but for me, I know in my experience, 36 hours a week is quote unquote full time for a nurse, and that is more than enough time that I need, because 12-hour shifts are grueling sometimes. Okay, if you know what it's like to be a nurse, then you have those shifts where you are just so tired. Guys, I'm talking about taking phone calls, doctors over your shoulder asking questions about 2-3 of your patients, family members calling and needing information and updates. You have to get medications ready. You have to make sure that you hang drips. You have to make sure that you give antibiotics on time, right? Because they're on a schedule. It's just so much stuff to do. And just think about this, right? I'm playing all of this, the mental, the physical, the emotional aspects of nursing, and also the multitasking that I just talked about. All of those things, that's just for one patient. One. You guys, a lot of us have more than one patient, okay? We have patients in the ER. Patient ratio should be 4. And that's 4 patients that we have to do that with. We also have, take for example, a med-surg nurse. She might have 5 or 6 patients. So 5 or 6 patients that she has to think about all of those different things, which is already a lot, really, already, but times 5. You guys, it's so much work. It is so much work. It's so much work that goes into it. And that's why I believe that they do give us 3 days, because we do need those 4 days off to kind of recoup. So why is there really a nursing shortage? So everything that I just told you about, right? We already had nurses leaving the profession or retiring when they should, or when they, were able to, because of those factors that were already present in the nursing profession already. Okay, but we have a very, very, very high demand because of all of these patients getting sick because of the pandemic, COVID-19. Okay, COVID-19 has not only exacerbated those numbers, but it has worsened the nursing shortage. Okay, worsened the nursing shortage. And also we are having or seeing an increase in patients being in the hospital and admitted or coming into the ER. Okay, so according to USA.edu, the top 3 worst hit nursing shortages of the entire country is Texas, California, and New Jersey. And I just want you guys to see this graph that USA.edu have posted on their site for reference. You see the ratio. You see the difference between the demand and supply. You guys, these are alarming numbers. This is not good. This is not good at all. And you see this everywhere. It's not just those 3. You see a whole list of different states and then some. They haven't said all of them. They just said these are the top ones with the worst shortages. But all over the country, the shortage is crazy. All right, the shortage is crazy. Like I said, I am in Illinois, and I can tell you firsthand, even the hospitals here, guys, the nurses are leaving because patient ratios, and in the ER, right now, it's supposed to be 1 to 4, but sometimes it can be pushed to 1 to 5 or 1 to 6. Depending on if there are other nurses who can give adequate staffing. It's rough, you guys. And And the consequences of unsafe patient ratios and understaffing, it all goes down to worse outcomes as far as the patients. Worse outcomes as far as the nurses' mental well-being, which goes back to burnout. If you are seeing yourself or feeling yourself becoming detached, or just kind of separating yourself and your compassion from your job, that is a first sign of burnout. It really is. And when you have nurses who are trying their hardest to do what they can do with just a regular ratio, by you adding on one more patient to that already, it was already proven that 4 nurses should have, not 4 nurses, but 4 patients should have 1 nurse. Because that 1 nurse can adequately give herself and her expertise and knowledge to those 4 patients. When you add another patient into the mix, or 2 more patients into the mix, what you're asking for is that nurse to stretch, to really stretch already what little she has of her knowledge to give what she can to that patient. It's not good. It's not good. You're not going to get a good outcome like that. Okay, and then also the patient suffers, and that's not what we want. That's not why hospitals are here. We're here to treat people effectively and efficiently, and we can't do that because these hospitals aren't keeping their staff. You had nurses who were fearful of getting sick and bringing that sickness or that illness home to their loved ones. That was one of the toughest things for me, because I know that I, did not want to be around my parents. After I came home from work, it was literally like I felt like I just wanted to take off all of my clothes at the door and just strip and just like have my own type of like quarantine shower every time I got off work. And that was that, like no type of contact with anyone whatsoever. I had no idea what it was. We kept seeing people coming into the ER, shortness of breath. We treated actually every shortness of breath, everything, almost like everybody had COVID-19. You just never knew what the symptoms were that was being presented. It was such a scary feeling. And you had older nurses who are already going to retire in like 2-3 years saying, forget this, I'm gone. Okay, I'm not going to be exposing myself to this, and I was about to retire anyway. Yeah, chuck up the deuces, okay? And that's exactly what they did, and I don't blame them. We did not know what was happening. Another part of COVID-19 that I'm going to talk about, and this might be a very, very controversial topic, and I don't want it to be controversial, but I really do feel like it's weighing heavily on my heart to bring up. And we're going to talk about the fact that nurses all over the place were demanding a pay raise. We were demanding a pay raise, okay? We were risking our lives, with this unknown virus. We did not know what was going on. People were quitting left and right. We were getting exposed. Nurses were getting sick with COVID. So that left the whole unit stranded to find people, and then also left the ones who were not sick who were there to get this extra load of patients. And you will be tired. You will be tired, you will be physically exhausted, and you will become unhealthy just overall because of the stress that you're under. So people, yes, they were asking for raises, crisis pay, because we were actually hearing about other people getting crisis pay. And then once the word spread between different hospitals, it was just crazy. And so I'm just going to say, I know that this is a controversial topic and it should not be discussed, but there is something to say to hospitals where they feel like we should be bending our backs, over and over and over and picking up extra shifts, but not actually being compensated for that. And I'm not saying that I got into nursing for strictly the money, but we do have to be realistic. We do have families that we have to feed. We have things to pay for. And we also know that once COVID hits, they were not trying to do that for a lot of nursing staff, guys. They just weren't. They saw the positions that we were in and how vulnerable we were to help this population of people who were infected with the virus. And it was just kind of almost like we don't care. This is your job. You're supposed to do it anyway. And it was really scary. And I think that that kind of offset a lot of people, you know, kind of in that mentality of like, well, you know, you guys don't care about me. Why should I care about this hospital? And that's pretty much how it was, guys. Honestly, truly, true. Nurses were getting sick and they had to use their PTO. Like, it was not even like, okay, you don't have to use your PTO. You tested positive. We have proof. We're going to pay for, you know, your time. You don't have to use PTO. People had to use their own PTO if they got sick with COVID, guys. And this was a hazard that we were putting ourselves in coming to the place every time we worked. It just wasn't fair, in my opinion. It wasn't fair. Yeah, we were feeling undervalued, unappreciated, and unheard. And you put that on top of someone who's already contemplating like, okay, I might leave, you know, in a few years. It was just a cherry on top, to be honest. And one more reason I think that nurses are leaving is because of the vaccine mandates, y'all. The vaccine mandates. I feel like after the vaccine came out, it was just an uproar of individuals and nurses and healthcare workers who were just like HELL, hockey sticks, whatever. Hell to the no, we ain't getting no vaccine. And then there were a lot of more individuals who were like, yes, we're getting the vaccine. What's wrong with you guys? The vaccine topic of COVID-19 has been such a controversial one. For one, I'm not going to give my opinion on whether you should or shouldn't. This is not why this video is up here. This is just a reason as to why I think that, you know, a lot of nurses are leaving as well. Once these hospitals started stating that you need the vaccine to work as a healthcare worker, a lot of nurses did not believe in the vaccine. They had their own theories about the vaccine and how effective it was, and they decided to leave. And that is just another factor on top of everything else why there is such a shortage of nurses, y'all. Okay, so the good thing, the bright side about bedside nursing, being in a hospital, don't let the fears overrun your need to get your experience. This is for the new nurses or just nurses who have never been in a hospital but they are thinking about going. Please, it is not or ever a bad experience to be a bedside nurse. You will learn so much. Everything that you learned in school will click for you. Those light bulbs will just pop on and pop on and pop on with every little thing that you do. I know for me, I had such a good time just learning different things in school, but when I actually got to practice in the hospital and saw the real deal, and the more I did them, the more confident that I got. So you have technical skills, which means, you know, diagnostic testing, which is EKGs, things like that. You have catheterizations, you know, with the Foley, you're inserting OG tubes, NG tubes, you know, practicing your phlebotomy skills with your IVs, you know, telemetry, looking at cardiac rhythms where when a person is wearing a cardiac monitor and you can tell what rhythm it is. You will just feel just so like, oh my God, everything that, you know, I learned in school is really clicking now. I also believe that being in the hospital teaches you how to stay calm under pressure. You know, there are so many things that arises, you know, and you have to multitask and things can change at the drop of a dime, guys. And so by you staying calm under pressure, you're more effectively, you know, able to think clearly and think things through so that you can, you know, resolve any issues that comes up in the workplace. Also, it teaches you how to effectively communicate. Just being in the hospital setting, you have to talk to so many different people, from occupational therapists to physicians, you know, to laboratory technologists, to pharmacists, to other nurses while you're giving a report. Maybe you're transferring a patient. You will learn how to effectively communicate with each department and with different, you know, interdisciplinary, you know, groups regarding your patient. It really, really helps you out when it comes to that. And And last but not least, it is a really, really good teacher when it comes to critical thinking and physical and emotional endurance. You know, you're just going to know how to handle your emotions and just know how to not cry, okay, right, when everybody else is crying. It's okay if you drop a few tears with your patients, because that just gives you a rapport, just some type of personal bond on the surface with your patient. If you are a little bit vulnerable emotionally with them as well, because it does show them that, you know, even though you are a nurse, you are also a human being too at the end of the day. I feel like the solutions to this nursing shortage, you guys, of course, better compensation, better benefit packages, but just, you know, support and empower and, you know, really uplift your staff. You know, giving them reasons why, you know, it's a good idea to stay. All right, guys, so that concludes this video. And if you guys like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. I am also going to tag down below the 5 things you should know before becoming a nurse. It will be up here also in the corner of my video. So of course, next week you will be getting another video of me. I don't know what it'll be of yet, but give me some suggestions. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.